FORA.tv. The world is thinking.
What I was intrigued by, and I noticed that the New York Times recently looked to talk to you and IMPay and Nouvelle and so on, that you've all been invited to this rather remarkable part of the world to create something out of nothing. This designed to be a bridge between the world of Islam and the world of the West, but this sort of to create a new cosmopolitanism. And as IMPay said, he said to them, take me to the site, and they said, well, the site doesn't exist yet. We've got to dredge it. So this is extraordinary architecture.
No, I had the same. They did the same with me.
How do you think that through? What's your context?
Well, as usual, now you got to the real core of the issue. But first of all, I understand, I think, their mission, which is to integrate themselves and be seen as part of the global world, as people interested in culture. And you see that in the orchestra of Barenboim and Edward Said playing Mozart in Ramallah in Palestine to a 2,000 people, Palestinians sitting in the audience listening to Mozart. And that's a terrific message for the world to see. And I think that the museum I'm working on is big, as you originally said. It's bigger than the Bilbao Museum. And its mission requires that because they're going to have world art. So if you go to Africa and look at African art, and African art is, contemporary African art is influenced by Picasso. It's ironic because Picasso art was influenced by Africa. That's an interesting story. The Chinese, I mean, one of the greatest things I discovered in Sydney is the White Rabbit Gallery.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing like that. But this museum is going to do what the White Rabbit Gallery has done for Chinese art is going to be hopefully in Abu Dhabi. And I've asked them to get involved with Mrs. Nielsen because she understands how to do it. If you put all those countries, all that work together in a museum, all at once, you can see the globe, what's happened, and you can see the interaction. You can see, if you go to the White Rabbit now, there's a show in which Chinese artists are riffing on Andy Warhol. That's pervasive throughout the world now. Everybody knows Andy Warhol. All those artists have seen it, and they've interacted with Rauschenberg and Johns and Picasso, and even contemporary artists are talking to each other. That's a hell of a story, and in that story, you can include artists in Lebanon, Syria, Egypt, Israel, and Emirati. And so there's a context that explains globalization. It's exactly the teaching mission of Roy Green at the business school, is to prepare students for that world. So in order to create that museum, they're the only ones right now that have the resources to do it. There's no American museum it's big enough to do that. And they're in a hurry to tell that story, and they're in a hurry to become part of the world. And they know the oil's going to run out, and they're they're on a surfboard, and they're riding that wave, and they know the wave is going to end. And I think it's exemplary what they're doing. And